Hello, welcome to Beat Burnout, this interview series. I'm Tanya Hussein, your host. I'm a stress management and trauma recovery coach. I've brought together top coaches, experts, and authors to share with you their experience of overwhelm, stress, and anxiety. Because burnout, it manifests in different ways, and a lot of the time, a lot of people don't even know that they're burnt out. I know when I was really burnt out last year. I've been a social worker for 27 years. I didn't even realize that it was my job that was making me feel like I was feeling. And over the years, it accumulates and then it starts affecting you in ways you don't even realize. It actually becomes your new norm. It actually feels normal for you to function like this. And Alex, she is a global personality. She's big in Africa. She's an actress. She's constantly reinvented herself and is constantly bringing healing and joy and a space for us to express ourselves. She has been featured in Huffington Post, The Guardian, CNN. She is the queen of expression. She is the creator of the Naked philosophy. She's the CEO of Bragg, a media company, and she's the talk radio show host of The Naked Truth. And she's written 4 books called The Naked Truth, Lie Stripped. Welcome, Alex. I'm so pleased you're with us today.
Thank you, Tania. I'm so excited to join you all the way from Nigeria. Oh my God, that was just an amazing introduction. And I almost couldn't recognize myself. Is that me? But thank you so much for having me join you on this amazing interview summit.
I just wanted to ask you, you have done so much. How did you get to do what you're doing today?
Oh my God, Tania. I would just say that I guess the real introduction or just me finding myself as an actor really started with a challenge, an incident that happened. And that was my family house got burnt in 2005 or so. And we lost everything in the fire. We lost everything, property, clothes, awards, just so many different things. And I was tired. You know how everything you work and you strive for, you lose it in one go. And then you start to think, oh my God, this is all vanity. And it was like, I was so exhausted. My family was, my mom, my dad, everyone was like, how are we going to start all over again? Mm-hmm. And somebody brought a form for my younger sister. It was for a reality TV show. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, my sister's not an actor. And really, it wasn't anything serious. I was just joking around. I filled the form. Mm-hmm. And I did that to escape really my frustration and overwhelm. I was just tired and I was looking for something fun to do. And getting on a reality TV show seemed like something to just do because I'd worked so hard and I'd lost everything in fire and I just wanted to just go have fun. And really, when I got there and realized that this is real work, but it was also the desire not to lose. You know how you take part in something, you're like, you know what, I want to go with this all the way. And that really gave birth to me starting a career in the entertainment industry as an actress and then bringing it down all to everything I have now. Yes.
The thing about Alex, she is this global superstar. She is so down to earth, so humble with it. I know in your life, you've constantly reinvented yourself and you have been through so many very difficult experiences. Could you tell me one of them when you were so overwhelmed, it was a very dark moment? What prompted you to reach out and ask for help? What did you talk about?
Okay, so, if I want to think about it, one major challenge that I had, or one very dark moment that really created this reinvention or brought me to this, even though, like I said, I started as an actress, I was a different kind of person, right? Always in the spotlight, my life out there open. I had gotten married to another actor from another country and that marriage did not work, right? And my marriage failed. And as an African, that's like you being a failure because marriage is a big deal for women, especially the African woman. And there I was with a 6-month-old baby and my marriage was failing. And really what happened was I was in denial, right? Here I was, a single mom all over again, lying to everyone, hiding the fact that my marriage was failing. So I wasn't asking for help. People didn't really know what was going on in my life. And I had changed. My body had changed. I put on a little bit of weight. I went from being the it girl to this new mom, right? From having this body that I could show off to just feeling, oh my God, I can't even recognize myself, to having, a new baby and thinking, how am I going to survive taking care of a child on my own, right? And thinking, what is everybody going to say? I'm going to be the laughing stock. People are going to talk about me. People are going to write about me, my family. I'm going to embarrass my family. And so that was a really dark, frustrating time because I really couldn't tell anybody what I was feeling, what I was going through. I couldn't even get back on set and work because I had a new child. I couldn't just abandon my child and go back to set. And then I still had to change in my body because your body is your tool. So it was almost like, how am I going to work? How am I going to get support? I have siblings that were not in the country. It was so really tough and I hated myself. And I realized that I had to wake up like every new mom. You wake up in the middle of the night to feed your baby. You barely get some sleep. I was struggling with so much. And that was a really dark moment. And I think it was all of that frustration and realizing that I had been living my life based on societal expectation. People had an impression, or there was this strive for perfection. And because I was afraid to say, I don't have it all figured out. I was afraid to say, I'm scared. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I was afraid to say that I wasn't as strong as people believed that I was. And I couldn't really open up and be vulnerable, even with my mom or my father, because I guess everyone just expected me to be able to rethink my decision, but as well as show up and just be that strong woman. But at some point, I knew that I needed to ask for help. And I think I asked for help very differently, not in a traditional sense, because again, in the African culture, it's not part of our culture to seek out professional help, ask for a counselor or a shrink or a psychologist. So I had to somehow become my own hero. Even though I would be honest, the transformation didn't come from me literally saving myself, but it came from me making that decision to open up myself and share with the world. So I think the big action, the real thing that I did was at some point I had to keep a journal. I started writing down how I was feeling because I couldn't tell anybody. And I was worried that if I tell someone, it could make it to the newspaper the next day. And people still wrote about me, but I was worried about keeping my secret with someone. So the only person I could trust was my journal. And I would write today, and I guess writing and expressing how I was feeling, something that happened or something that made me frustrated. It helped me to, at the turn of every day, analyze what I was going through. And that gave me a sense of awareness. And that took me to the next level.
I know you come from the world of entertainment, but I think what you're actually saying really resonates with a lot of social workers who feel that they have to be this perfect, and because they are the experts, they're giving advice, the healthcare professionals, they're talking about healthy eating or whatever it is, whether it's mental health or physical health. And you kind of really, what you're saying really resonates with me, because when you have to be the strong one, it's so hard to be vulnerable. And what I wanted to ask you was that journaling just sounds so like a safe space for you to navigate and process your feelings. Something came out of that journaling, didn't it, Alex?
Yes, something came out of that journaling, Tania. And there's something you said that I just wanted to capture a little bit. We're talking about social workers and having to feel like they have to be perfect and they have to be the strong one because they have to help. It's so funny. While listening to you, I just realized that the entertainment business is almost like social work in a sense, right? Because we have to make people feel entertained. We have to make them feel happy. We have to be a reflection or a mirror of society in kind of a way. Like we help people aspire and we keep them happy. And it's so funny that you'll find out that a lot of entertainers, while on the surface, they look good, they're happy, they seem okay, they're sad, frustrated, depressed. And think about any of the greatest people you can think of. This actor who used to be one of the biggest comedians, really, and we thought he was happy and excited. Every day we go to the cinema and he made us laugh, only to find out that he committed suicide and he killed himself. And this is something that happens. There is a correlation between the work that I do, social work in this sense, because we're serving people. right? Whatever kind of work you're doing, if you're in service, serving others and putting others, their happiness, their joy, their results before yourself, really yourself. And sometimes you can really get overwhelmed and burned out. Now back to you asking me about what came out of journaling. Something great came out of journaling, because while I was writing and taking stock of my day and analyzing some of the things that I'd been through, one day I just felt this big push. It was like, and I guess that is where I really asked without maybe literally saying, hey, come help me. But I just got this big push, and I decided to do something very brave, which was share one of my private journals with the public. What I did was I just took something that I'd written and I posted on Facebook. And immediately I pushed the press button. I was so scared. I was like, oh my God, can I take this back? Can I take this back? But I think there was something inside me crying for help. And I wanted it to go beyond me just looking at it. It was me seeking other eyes, seeking other people and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is how I feel today. This is what's happening. And the response was like people writing back and saying, oh my goodness, Alex, I can relate to you. I feel you. I can connect with you. You're human. I know someone who's been through this. I've been through this before. You're saying something that I can never say. You're so bold for doing this. There was just all kinds of feedback that all of a sudden I felt like, oh my God, where have I been? This is a community, right? And instantly I started getting response and feedback. And it was that feedback that gave me the strength to heal. It was that feedback that gave me the courage to do it the next day and do it again and do it again until I started getting help, getting support. Sometimes really that when it comes down to when we feel burnout and overwhelmed, we need support, right? And so it was that support that really helped me heal, helped me find myself, and helped me to reinvent myself. So yeah, something really came out of that. And that was me putting it out there and sharing.
And I think process that you're describing, because I know so many of you that are watching, you're so used to being strong. You're so used to, no matter what happens, you get up and you carry on. But that can really wear you down. And sometimes it takes, I think like Alex is saying, it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable. I know I found it hard for the majority of my life to actually be vulnerable, because I was just so used to being strong. And I said this before and I'm going to say it again, because I think sometimes you need to hear it again and again for it to really sink in. Your strength can be your weakness, and your weakness can be your strength. And what I wanted to ask you was the whole stigma, and it's very much within my culture, the Pakistani and Indian culture, when somebody gets divorced, it is really something that people don't even want to talk about. It's just something that is frowned upon. So it sounds like you really opened up a space for people to talk about something that is usually stigmatized. There's a lot of embarrassment, there's a lot of shame. And did you know what you were looking for?
Tania, that's a great question. First of all, I didn't know what I was looking for. I just wanted to feel better. And I think that's what happens to most of us when we're feeling overwhelmed or frustrated or tired, drained, is that we just don't like what we're feeling. We don't like where we are, the space that we are. We want to be in a better place and in a better space. To be honest, at first, I didn't know what I was saying. All I just wanted was not to feel the way I felt about myself, not to feel like I couldn't do anything, like my hands were tied, like I couldn't change the circumstance and I couldn't change the situation. And a lot of it was really in my head. Yes, there's the overwhelm, but there's also that feeling, like you said, when you feel inadequate. A lot of the times when we feel even physically burned out, whether at home or we're tired, it's because we feel we can't juggle. We're juggling too many things, right? And we feel inadequate. It's like we're trying so many things and nothing is coming together. It's, oh my God, I can't do this thing, right? But really, you don't have to do everything. You can just really ask for support and help. But we feel like we need to be strong and we have to do everything. And then we become embarrassed and ashamed to actually admit that we can't handle everything and we don't have it all together. And I think it's that embarrassment and that shame that creates the pressure. So we put unnecessary pressure on ourselves. And at first I didn't know what I was looking for, but the moment I started to get it, I realized, oh my God, all I needed was support, right? And then all of a sudden I started getting the support I needed in different areas, right? So it was stuff like, oh, my mom is, wait, hang on a second. You want to get back to work? you can bring your son over. We can keep him and you can go to the gym and work out. And I started to find the solution to some of the problems, the little problems, until I solved the big problem, which I wasn't able to because I kept it to myself. I didn't say, oh, I need help. I didn't say this is what is frustrating me. I didn't say this is why I'm tired, or this is why I'm exhausted. I wish I could get this from you. Or I wish somebody could check up on me and come over and stay with me and ask me. I didn't say all of those things. And I didn't realize that whether I put on weight or not, I was still beautiful. Whether I was on 3 or 4 sets at the same time or not, I was still great, and I had other talents and skills I could use. So at first I didn't realize it, but I noticed that before you ask, I guess that asking is a form of, when I talk a lot about expression being a sign of strength and not weakness, is we being able to, put it out to the world. And put it out to the world doesn't mean that everybody needs to know. It could be one person, it could be somebody you trust, it could be a counselor, a mentor, or a coach, a spiritual leader, a family member, a friend, somebody that you know that you can get support from and you can share how you feel. And which was starting to realize that what I needed was that support. I started to create the space, bringing people over. That's why I created the radio show. I wrote the book and trying to guide people to really just open up and take off the mask and accept that they're imperfect. But perfection is a myth. So if we understood that, then we'll put less pressure on ourselves. On days when you feel tired, just admit you're tired, right? I'm so tired, I can't really do this. And then people will understand better. So really, at first I didn't know what I wanted, but as I started to get what I wanted, it became clearer what I wanted and what I thought people needed.
I know sometimes as social workers and healthcare professionals, we kind of like know it all in theory. And sometimes I notice people from not our world, just say it as it is. And I just love that about Alex and many of the other coaches that don't come from that world of psychology. And what you actually said was you decided to be your own superhero. No, I've done it majority of my life. I was wanting to save the whole world. I stopped saving myself. I was drowning. I was literally drowning. And I think I remember writing a poem about it, drowning in other people's lives. And I'm so glad that you've said that, because sometimes are you actually rescuing yourself or even wanting to rescue yourself? You then open up the doors and you unblock what's blocking people supporting you in the first place. And did you notice that when you started looking for the help, that people then came to you? Did that happen, Alex, in your life?
Oh, that happened. The opportunities came, the help came. It's funny because I'm listening and paying attention to what you're saying, and you were talking about when you were trying to save the world, but you were drowning. Just imagine you're in this massive pool, right? And you can't swim, or for some reason you're drowning and you do nothing. You just clap your hands down and nobody knows there's anything happening underwater. Right? And you're there and you can't swim. What's going to happen? You will drown. But let's say you make an effort and you're like, hey, you don't see me, I'm here. Somebody help, right? You're screaming for help and you're making an effort. All of a sudden, people will notice that there's somebody drowning in the water, and then people make an effort to come and pull you out. I just wanted to give a very easy analogy of how we can be so overwhelmed and stuck with our issues and whatever it is that's keeping us down, but you have to make an effort to save yourself, to be your hero. And that will start with the first effort, just you making an effort. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have the answer. You don't have to have the answer. You don't even have to have the solution. You just need to make an effort to say, you know what, I need help. Hey, see me, save me, do something. And then the people will show up. The opportunities will show up. The coaches will, they say once you're ready to learn, the teacher will show up. Yes, once I made up my mind that I won't be the first single mom, I won't be the first person to have first time mom, I won't be the first person to go through whatever it is that I'm going through, and I can't stay here where I am and do absolutely nothing. I think I started to find the support. I started to find the confidence, find people who made me feel like, there's nothing wrong with you, Alex. We can help you. What, you need me to do this for you? Yeah, sure, I'll do this for you. You want me to do that for you? Why not? I'm happy to do that for you. And all of a sudden you start to realize, oh my God, what was I doing all along? Struggling by myself, making no effort. The help will come, definitely.
Sometimes that analogy of trying to swim, sometimes it's like You can wait for people to rescue you, but how are they going to rescue you if they don't know that you're just feeling so awful? How will they know if you're so used to being this, whatever, happy go lucky, but you're not? You're really sad or you're really hurting inside. How will they know? And life is being interdependent. We are told to be and applauded about, being an independent woman and being, don't be dependent. Yeah, I'll say, yeah, there's, to be dependent. But what about the middle ground, which is interdependent? So you're not totally depending on someone, and yet you're not totally being independent, that you're feeling isolated. It's about, we are not an island. Nobody's an island. And I wanted to ask you, what would you say for those who are watching would be the top 3 signs or symptoms of burnout? Because I know it manifests itself differently with different people.
I think a number of things. The first one would be maybe constant physical, you feeling drained, right? And I guess if you're feeling physically drained more often than not, then you're burning out. Because it's not a one-time thing. If you feel like, okay, I'm constantly feeling tired, that means you are burning out or about to burn out. I also think that if you feel some kind of mental fatigue, right, where you're just tired in your head, you don't want to think, right? You're like, okay, I'm done. I'm stressed. I really can't handle anything. I don't want to think. I'm feeling mentally stressed. That is a sign of burnout. But I think also when it starts to affect your work or your daily goals, when you start to feel unproductive, then you're burning out. Because the truth is, when we burn out, we start to become unproductive. So when you start feeling like you're not accomplishing anything at the end of the day, like you're burning out, really, that's the truth. Sometimes, and I noticed that with myself as well. I work a lot. I work so hard, and people are like, Alex, you work hard. And I work with clients around the world, and half the time I'm like, when I start to feel like, okay, I've spent my entire day staring into this laptop and I haven't done much today, and I didn't do much yesterday. Okay, something's going on here with me. You start feeling really tired you didn't exert yourself physically, but you're feeling physically drained. And then, yes, being unproductive.
And that kind of leads me to the next question, which I have is, because you do so much, you're a writer, you're a coach, you're a radio show host, you're also an actress, you do so many different things. How do you do all these things now without burning out, without getting overwhelmed? What do you do to be this very balanced and joyous self that you are?
Okay, Tania, you said a word that kind of triggered in my head, and that was like, how do you create a balance? To be honest, I don't think there's anything like balance, right? This is me being honest. I really don't believe that balance does exist. I really feel like something's got to give. But I think that we need to be comfortable with what is given. So for me, the way that I really try to work to make sure that I'm not burned out and that I'm at a good space, that I don't feel physical fatigue or mental fatigue or feeling unproductive, because at the end of the day, you want to be productive, is the first thing I do now is I take out me time every day, really. Before I get up, the first thing I'm doing is I'm checking my emails, I'm responding to emails, I'm getting ready to I now take out. I try not to take calls before 9 a.m. unless it's from my family members, because I don't want people to hijack my day. I'm a recovering pleaser. And I still look at myself and I say, I'm a servant lead. I'm the kind of person who wants to help everybody. Oh, let's do it. I'm sure I'm going to help you with this. I'm good. And what happens is that I end up doing handling everybody else's problem. And I forget that I have plans for the day. So I've learned now to, when I get up, I wake up early, plan my day, make sure there's a plan for the day. It doesn't always have to go the way that I plan, but at least I have an idea of what my day should look like. I try not to allow people to hijack it before I make my plans, and then try to follow that. Now I try to just let things, for example, I'm up till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Yes, sometimes I still am, but I've now learned to, like I said, respond the next day, respond when it's convenient, make sure that I'm not overly worried, and just really try to create a time and give myself a period where I'm not under stress. So that's really how I manage all the different creative things, and try not to do everything at the same time. So if I'm on set working, I know I'm working for a week, I'm not trying to throw everything else into that as well. So I just try to map out my schedule. But most important thing, give me time. it's very important.
I'm really glad that you've shared, and I think this is something that I've noticed with a lot of people that are doing it and becoming very productive, doing a lot of things, is they focus with what they are doing. My business coach says this all the time, Shanda Song, stay in the step you're in. Stay in the step that you're in. And your focus, I think, Alex, I just love your focus. I love your energy. Thank you so much for joining us and